and welcome back to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick. I'm Tawny Ray.
And I'm Felicia Connor.
And today we're going to be talking about Hostel 2.
Deuces.
Keeping the Eli Roth train going.
Hostel deuces.
Hostel deuces.
Yes.
And I feel like it's been 100 years since we've talked.
No. I have to give a shout out to Tawny Ray. Tawny motherfucking Ray is a baller. I love her. I have had a very intense 2 weeks with my day job. Just a lot of work, a lot of stuff going on, and been cranking out like a lot of yoga to calm my nerves. And so she's been so gracious to be just totally chill. Like, honestly, I feel horrible when I'm like, can we push back the recording because I feel so frazzled that I'm not going to be 100%. And she's always like, yeah, let's figure it out. Let's do Sunday. Let's do whatever. And it's been really awesome. And I've taken a lot of time for like myself, making sure that I'm doing during the week yoga, self-care, to really just kind of, chill the fuck out. And
Yes.
I am so excited to record today. And I think also when we record with guests, it's different, right? Because we have this whole dynamic going on. It's so much fun. It's very different than when it's just you and I talking and like chilling and talking.
Totally. And I feel like we don't have the time. Like, we don't really do what we normally do when we have guests. We don't like shoot the shit or whatever as much. We do, but it's more about like them and how they started their podcast and any kind of questions that we have for them. But yeah, and so it does feel like we haven't talked, even though we did talk.
Yeah.
Then, so like our last
hi,
episode.
Tawny.
Right.
How are you doing?
God, we were like catching up. What's new? I mean, we talk all the time, but even it's just different, like speaking to each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. I am just of the mindset now that it's better to be chill. Like, I don't, this is like a whole different thing that I feel like I'm experiencing in my life, but I have always been very like trying to control things and like get out there and like make shit happen, and I don't think I ever had like words to put to it until recently, but it's this whole like hustle culture, where it's like, you got to get out there and be the best and fucking show up and work on it in every waking moment that you have. And like,
Navy SEAL girl boss.
Totally. Give up your whole life to be able to do whatever you want to do. And I finally am at a space over the last couple years where I'm like, you know what? Fuck all that. Like, that's not how shit gets done. I mean, sure, you can get shit done in that space. And, if that works for you, great. Like, I think everybody's different, and if it works for you, cool. But I do think it's like a detrimental headspace to be in. And so finally now I'm like, fuck all that, dude. Like, I obviously have things that I want to do and I'm going to work towards it, but I'm not going to do it with this like panicked fervor that just ends up leading you to like burnout super fast. So that's why I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, whatever we're doing is fine. Do we need to take a week off? It's fine. We don't have to like kill ourselves to do this podcast. Like, I don't know. I just try. That's kind of just how I deal with it. So you know what I mean, though. Not like deal with you, but I just, that's how I am.
Pain in the ass. No, I totally know what you mean, because when we first started launching our businesses, because we also have other coaching businesses and the podcast and all this other stuff, I was all in the, girl boss, hustle. And I started to just decline, like my mental health wise, as far as anxiety and just not feeling fulfilled. And I realized that works for some people. And I know people where that whole mentality of hustle, drive works for them very much so. It doesn't for me. It's so, and I had to honor that within myself. Yeah. So counterintuitive to who I am, who is striving constantly for inner peace. So yeah. I was like, okay, I need to build my business around who I am. I need to, even this business. So I'm super excited that you just said all of that, because imagine if you were just like, no, fuck that, drive this shit, come on, let's go. It would be so hard. It would be so hard.
I know.
But since you feel the same way, and we both have anxiety, and we both just like nurture selves and all of that sort of thing, it just works really well. And I truly believe that we can do what we're going to do and be successful with what we're going to do without having that mindset, because that mindset, I know for myself, will eventually burn me out to where I don't want to do anything.
Yep. Same. It's not, you got to keep it fun. You got to keep it fun. Whatever it is that you want to do, that's my PSA for today. And also, like, I just totally agree. I feel like I've always, and to be honest, like, I still struggle with this feeling, because I feel like I've been a person who has struggled with this my entire life. And I always have felt like, oh, if I'm not working on something productive, like, it's a problem. Like, I have to be able to be working towards something in like literally every waking moment. And so I still struggle with that, but I've come around to the idea that, like, that's bullshit. And your value as a human is not in that. It's not your output. It's not your productivity. It's not what you create. It's not what you do at work. Like, you're already valuable as a human being just by your existence. And so, like, let go of all that shit. That's kind of just where and it feels so much better. It feels so much better when you're working towards something and you're like, I don't have to do that. You know, like, I'm just going to take a night off, a day off, whatever. And I find myself doing it anyway, but not from a like panicked scarcity place, more just from like well, it would be fun, you know, like, it would be fun to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And it's really different. And that's just ultimately why I'm like, fuck it, dude. Like, if we put all this pressure on ourselves, like, it's gonna not be fun, and that it defeats the fucking purpose. So no.
Exactly. It's gonna be one of these, we're gonna create our own day job of like in the not the office, the
exactly
office space. But we created the business. Totally.
Yes,
totally,
definitely. And I feel like this is a good, maybe, because I kind of wanted to see if you'd be okay for me doing a personal plug.
Fuck yeah, are you kidding me? I almost just plugged you. And then I was like, all in my head, no, maybe she doesn't want me to do that, and she'll have to edit it out. So do it.
No, I'm just really excited because I finally launched this like free quiz that I've been working on for literally months. And it's designed to help you if you're somebody who you want to start a business, because I am a business coach as well. And I specialize in helping women just get started with a business that they really want. So I created this quiz to help you, like, if that's you, if you want to go through it and just take the quiz and see how you land, to get you pointed in a direction to get started, because that was so helpful for me. Like, I was really lost and I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to start my own business, but I didn't know what type to start or like what kind. I had a million fucking ideas. So if that's you, you can go to my personal Instagram page, and there's a link in my bio, and that's it. That's my personal plug.
I love it. So now I'm going to have to hire Tawny as a sponsor of her own podcast, because I want to say, here's our sponsor moment. But no, seriously, Tawny is my business coach. I go to her. She coaches me through all of my bullshit. She inspires me to all different things, not only to get past like the fear and the questions and all of that stuff that comes up when you are starting a business, but also with, I have these ideas and I personally get really wrapped up. Like, I have an idea and then I start questioning all these different things, and then I start really overcomplicating things. And she is excellent at just getting down to the nitty gritty and like, what should you do, and helping me find clarity around my next steps. She is absolutely phenomenal. Go take her test. I took it and I was like, oh yeah, for sure. That's me. It was awesome.
That's cool. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for that.
That cost $10,000. I'm just kidding.
No, but I want to say too, like, I do that And I have a tendency to overcomplicate constantly. Like, that's why the quiz took me so long, is because I kept thinking, oh, shit, I have to put this on a quiz software. Like, people need to be able to click through and hit the button and get a result. And then I was like, you know what? Why am I making this so fucking complicated when I can literally just make it a PDF? Like, how did we used to take quizzes and magazines and shit? Like, you just, like, circle what you wanted. I was like, fuck that. I'm just going to simplify the shit out of this. So,
yes. Because
Yeah.
I took the test, that's exactly what it did. I wrote it on my little notepad.
easy.
All my answers, easy peasy. And at no point did I think, oh my God, I wish this would calculate for me. This is bullshit.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
I didn't think of it once.
Anyway.
Oh, that's awesome. Tawny Rays of Sunshine, Tawny-licious. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a pineapple Truly. This is my spring/summer drink of choice. And so
That's good.
this is my last one, actually.
It was so official.
It was.
Spring/summer. I can't wait to see full-on summer drink of choice.
Yeah, I probably should come up with one for that. What are you drinking?
Okay, so I am drinking Pinot Noir sparkling wine. It's opaline. I've drank it before. I got it at Trader Joe's. So I drank.
Ooh, I think I've seen this bottle before. It's very pretty.
I did.
Yeah.
This is it. It's
Ooh.
very yummy because it has a sweetness, but it has a sweetness and a dryness. Like, it's not too sweet. And so I really, really like it. It's
Yum.
Brut Rosé, and it's at Trader Joe's, and it's only $7.99.
Wow, that's not bad at all.
I bought a second bottle. I started with that one. Like I've had two bottles. I poured a glass of the other one, and it was so fruity. And I looked close at the tiny writing, and it was like a semi-sweet cocktail spritzer mixer, something. It was something. I dumped it. It was really sweet. It was like, ugh, this one's good.
I had some sangria yesterday, which I feel like normally I'm not down for, but I really liked it. So maybe that'll be my summer drink of choice. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll have to, do some testing.
Nice.
Nice. What have you been watching? Anything? I know you've been really busy, so
no, I've
maybe
been
not.
watching because I've been watching and we haven't been able to talk about it.
Oh yeah, huh? Because of our guest
So I'm going to
episode.
name a couple things. I'm so excited about this because I keep a list.
Yeah.
And then really talk about the one thing that is such a surprise that me and my oldest daughter are so in love with.
Okay.
But I'm going to hold that to the end. It's become
Some
an obsession.
tension.
Yeah,
Okay.
tension. Okay, so I watched the movie Blockbuster, about the last Blockbuster, or it's not a movie, it's a documentary, and loved it because I used to go to Blockbuster, and it was so much fun. That was a really good one, especially if you're in the age of where you went to Blockbuster. It'll be really nostalgic for you. You'll really relate to all the people in the show and talking about their experience at Blockbuster. That was baller. Another one, me and Steve have been really into these like art heists sort of shows. I think
Okay.
So the first one is Made You Look. And I believe I didn't write down what they were on, I'm sorry, but what we watch is Netflix and Amazon Prime. And the one that's Hulu, I did write it. So anyways, Made You Look and This Is a Robbery. They're both about art thieves that stole art. The Made You Look is about not stolen art, but art forgeries. Okay. And This Is a Robbery was stolen art. And I don't know, it's really like gripping. We really like it. We're not like art. We don't even know about art. It's just the way they set it up. And they're like, and you're like looking like, oh, why is that a forgery? How the fuck can you even tell? I don't know. The way they just create the drama is amazing. It's Netflix. They're awesome. We also watched, nobody else watched it with me, Who Killed Little Gregory? This Is My True Crime. That was also very well done. It was on Netflix, and it was about, in France, this little boy who was killed and the investigation on who did it. And they did a fucking great job. It was crazy because it was something within the family. It was great. Not the family mom, dad. like this big extended family. It was great. Now we're here to the thing that me and my oldest daughter are so obsessed with, and it's so weird. And it's Formula One racing.
Okay.
It's so random. But my husband put on a documentary called Formula One, and it's on Netflix.
What even is that? I don't even know what it is.
It's just racing, like race cars.
Okay, well, what's Formula One racing versus like
Oh, that's a good question.
other racing?
I don't know that much. If I could call has become such an obsession with my oldest daughter that she actually synced her phone calendar with the Formula One racing calendar. Who would have known? She's such like this artist, fashionista. She's obsessed. It's like Formula One racing, and if there's anybody, comment on this episode if you know more. I don't know a whole lot. I know there's different levels of racing, but this is like, I think this is the epitome of racing. They race all over the world, right?
Okay.
They go to a bunch of different countries to race, and they race the cars. There's like Red Bull and Mercedes and McLaren and like these different,
Sure, you're saying a lot of
teams.
race type words at me, and I don't know anything about this, so sure.
No, but like those are well, not Red Bull, Red Bull.
Yes.
But
yeah, like cars.
those other things were car brands, right?
Do they drive in a circle?
Here we go. It's an FIA Formula One World Championship. That I don't know. They go in a circle, but it's not just like a circle, right? It's around a town.
Yeah, so it's like a track. It's not just it's
a track in a town. Yeah, in Italy, it's the streets, right? And they go around for 63 laps. And I believe there was, I don't know, like 20 drivers, or there's probably more than that. Sorry, there's more drivers. But anyways, I know it was 63 laps. And they go around, and someone tries to win. I don't even know. But we watched the Formula One. I'm telling you, I challenge, or not I double dog dare people to just go watch some of those episodes, because I'm not into race. I was not. And I started watching it, and I was like really into it. Then I love Daniel Ricciardo, and I love all these different drivers, because it's a documentary. So you get to know them and who they are and how they got into it. And I was just glued. We watched the entire first and second seasons.
Okay.
This month. We're done with it. And then this morning, here's the ultimate epitome of how obsessed we are. This morning, my oldest daughter woke up at 5:45 in the morning. She woke me up because it's in Italy, and there was a Formula One race today. And she woke me up, and then my husband woke up so that we could watch, because it was 6 a.m. our time, the Formula One race.
You've lost it.
I've lost it.
You're crazy.
I don't even know why. And you see the cars they're driving, they're just driving and driving and driving, and then they pass, and we're like, yeah, they passed. And
Weird.
But I think it's all, if they would have put that race on, first of all, this morning without seeing the documentary, I would have been like, get away from me. I would have went back to bed. But because of the documentary, you get to know all of the team managers, you get to know the different team members, the drama.
Yes.
Oh, this guy's he's going to go to Mercedes. Oh. And then how mad everybody is. And it's just like, it's great, guys. Fucking Formula One. And the last thing I'm going to say, because of Formula One, I watched also the documentary about, his name is Senna. He was a race car driver who died. And he's so inspirational. And we're just fucking obsessed now. Thanks.
Okay. Nice. I mean, I'm making fun of it because
it's fucking crazy.
It's weird.
That's why it's weird
to me. But I don't care. That's cool. I should check it out because I do feel like I remember seeing the documentary on Netflix, like the cover, and I've seen the cover for Senna, and I am always like, that looks cool. Like I'm always like, I don't know, it's like the cover of it, I'm like, that looks neat. So maybe it's like way cooler than I'm giving it credit for. I don't know.
Yeah, Senna was really good. And I mean, I will admit I'm very much a sucker for it's just weird, like sports, movies, like Friday Night Lights or anything where this team goes through trials and tribulations. Maybe they're the underdogs and then they triumph or they die. In the case of Senna, like I don't think I'm giving anything away because I am if you don't know Formula One racing, but he died. And I don't know. I'm just like, I like that stuff in general. And now I'm hooked.
Obsessed with Formula One racing. Okay. Things we didn't think that would happen in 2021.
Never. We may travel in October to go see it in Texas.
Wow.
This is fucking crazy.
Okay.
What?
That's cool though. It's cool to like
so
discover a new thing and be like, this is neat,
Whew, thanks for letting me share all that with you. All right. We're ready for Hostel 2.
Let's dig in to Hostel 2.
Let's do it.
It was made in 2007. I don't remember if I said that. Let me give you the cast real quick. So we've got Lauren German. I should also mention this is Eli Roth. I think I said that earlier. Whatever. Yeah. Lauren German plays Beth. Heather Matarazzo, I think is how you say it, plays Lorna. Bijou Phillips plays Whitney. Richard Berge plays Todd. Roger Bart plays Stuart. I meant to look up what else he's been in, but I forgot.
Recognize him so much.
Yeah.
I'll look it up while you continue.
Okay, Vera Jordanova plays Axel. They say it different ways in the movie, so I will probably keep saying Axel.
Roger Stewart's been in The Producers, The Stepford Wives, Desperate Housewives, Smiley, I don't know what, Harold and Kumar?
I mean, I've probably seen that.
American Gangster? Okay, we're done. But any of those movies, he's been in all of those movies.
He looks really familiar, is the thing.
He's very familiar, yes.
Okay, so IMDb gave it a 5.5 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 44%, and 79% of Google users like this movie.
44%?
Yeah.
Do we know what the other Hostel was?
61%.
Wow, really?
For the first one, yeah.
Okay.
Budget was $10 million. Box office was $35 million. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Now on to 2 Minutes with Tawny.
Hey, Tawny.
We open the movie with our pal Paxton from Hostel 1, who is living somewhere in the US with his girlfriend, hiding out from the organization he escaped from. She is pretty fed up with his paranoia, and when she comes down for breakfast the next morning, Paxton is headless in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Cut to 3 Americans, Beth, Whitney, and Lorna, who are all studying abroad. They take a trip to Prague and are convinced by a model, Axel, to go to a luxury spa in Slovakia. Once they arrive, we see it's the same torture hostel from the first movie. Our favorite receptionist takes their passports and uploads them for auction. We see people all around the world bidding on women until Todd, a businessman, wins and calls his friend Stuart to let him know that the killing trip is on. Lorna is separated from the group at a harvest festival while Stuart stalks Beth and has a little chat with her. The clients of this elite hunting club have been privately flown in and put in a position to see their targets at this festival, which is fucking creepy.
Yeah, so creepy.
Lorna is hung upside down above a bathtub. That's very difficult to say. While a woman comes in and slices her up with a scythe to bathe in her blood. Disgusting. Beth gets separated from Whitney and ends up at Sasha's house, who is the leader of this organization, and Axel knows him. She finds a secret room with heads on spikes, including Paxton's. All throughout this movie, as this is happening, we get scenes with Todd and Stuart showing that Stuart is in way over his head and does not want to go through with this. Like, this was clearly Todd's idea. But they are both pretty fucked because the elite hunting club will kill them if they try to walk away. And as part of this contract that they have with them, they both have to get tattoos of the logo, which is a bloodhound. Beth and Whitney wake up in the facility to be tortured and killed. Todd fucks around with a saw trying to scare Whitney and accidentally scalps her. This freaks him out and he can't look at her, so he runs out and gets eaten by dogs because he didn't fulfill the contract. Stuart, on the other hand, is now in the room with Beth. He started out seeming like he didn't want to do this, but is now in like full-on fucking killer mode. Beth strokes his ego enough to tie him up in the chair and gets the code to escape, except now this place has way better security than the first movie. So she gets Stuart's whole genitals in some scissors and starts screaming for Sasha. I did not know how to write that in a way that like painted a picture. Hopefully you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
She tells him to name his price for her to walk out of there. He explains it's not just about money, though. There's a contract which includes killing someone. She's already got the money part covered, so of course, Beth castrates Stuart, feeds the dog his junk, gets the tattoo, and walks out of there. But she's not done yet because she finds Axel before she leaves and beheads her.
Baller.
So, Felicia.
Here I am.
What do you think? What did you think about this movie?
I really liked this movie.
I thought you might.
I really liked this movie. I liked it more than the first one.
Yeah.
So that's why I was so surprised. You know, when it started, I was really nervous. To watch this movie because of the gore. And I figured they would have leveled it up even more than the last one, which they did in parts. And I was nervous to watch it. I watched it with my oldest daughter, who also watched the first one with me.
Okay.
So I talked her into watching the second one. I'm like, you can't like give up on the series now. And I liked it. I liked that it was from the woman's point of view. I was really nervous as well because, you know, like human trafficking and all of that like gives me, like, I'm so scared of all that stuff. So I was really nervous and like dreading it. So I really, I liked the characters. I liked the characters more than the other characters, and not because I think they were women, but just, I don't know, well, maybe it was because they were women. Maybe I could relate to them more. They were more believable to me than this, you know, so maybe that is.
I think that's how I feel. I think I relate to them more because they're, but also I do feel like they are less caricatures than the men were in a way. So sorry,
I
didn't
agree.
mean to.
No, because Beth is the main character, right?
Yeah.
And she liked to drink and she was willing to like party with the drugs and stuff. It's not like it was her friend who was totally like, let's party and have sex. And she was like, no, I need to, no, this is not right. She was also like, yeah, let's party, but wasn't as wild as her, right?
Yeah.
So it was, I liked the characters. I really liked the ending as well. I liked how she turned it all around and then she ended up getting that tattoo. I thought that was awesome. The freaking castration scene was disgusting and was like all there. Like you saw the whole thing. So I really liked it. And I think there's that level of fear as well, because I said to both my daughter and my husband who were watching with me, I see this as, I would say, 80% of college kids that were in Italy.
Totally.
I can totally see myself, even not now, but back in college. Oh, some nice, pretty girl who apparently knows the areas. Like, I go to these hot springs every year. Fuck yeah, that sounds great. Let's go to some hot springs. Why not? Why wouldn't you?
Right.
And so that adds that level of terror.
Totally. I obviously love this movie. That's why I was like, we need to follow it up with this movie. Just the Hostel 1 and 2 are some of my favorite horror films of all time. Like, I just love them. And I love them because they're rooted in reality in a way that feels really scary to me, that you could be picked up and put in this, business for torture and being murdered. And this movie in particular, I love it because it is like more, it does two things different than the first movie. Number one, we see the female perspective, which even we talked about in Hostel 1. We were like, women wouldn't fall for this shit, but you would if the parameters were right for you, right? So it's not just like you took exactly what happened in Hostel 1 and he just like flipped it and flipped the sexes and had you know what I mean? Like men trying to get women to this place, because that wouldn't work. That's not, it's a
Oh,
totally different
yeah.
situation. You've got this woman, like you're saying, who knows the area that they trust. Why? Well, you would have no reason to distrust this woman.
If she feels safe,
Of course, we'll follow her
then
there.
why wouldn't I feel safe?
Yeah, we're going to go to a luxury spa. Sure. Right? Like, sure. And we're all together. We feel safe. We're in a group, whatever. So I loved it for all of those reasons. And I also, the second thing that I think it does well, different than the first movie, is now we get to get the killer's perspective, right?
Yes.
And so I love that. I think there's a lot of moments that turn out different than you expect them to. There's a lot of subverting expectations, and I like that in this movie, what they do specifically. And we'll get into more of that. But yeah, I thought you might like this better than Hostel 1 because it has a very, like, I don't know, triumph. The vibe at the end is very different than Hostel 1.
Yeah. So I really love that how in Hostel 1, they had that guy, he got away. So then what, right? Because the authorities are involved in all of this stuff. And he, doesn't get away. So it leads you to the end of this Hostel 2, to be like, okay, she can't just escape. Like, oh, yeah, I escaped, I'm out in the world. Because we know how that ends up for people. Mm-hmm. There has to be another level of what's going on. I really loved the dynamic and more insight. Because in the first one, you do get kind of, the people who are buying the people to kill. But in this one, you have real life people, like this husband, seemingly quiet, caring husband, and this other guy who's obviously like a macho type guy, but whatever, just men, right? That we all know these types of guys. And that dynamic of them trying to, the one really macho type guy is trying to psych up his friend. And then he ends up being like totally fucking scared by the whole thing once he actually hurts someone. Like, it was just a really great dynamic. I loved it. The only thing, maybe some other things will come up as we talk, but the one thing that sticks out of my mind that really was like a sore, like a thorn that I thought was odd, was you think Stewart is really struggling, right? He does that well. I didn't buy the switch. That's what I didn't buy. I bought, and he's like, no, I don't know what I'm here. And then all of a sudden he like switched, and he's like, you fucking bitch. Like, like it was just so quick. I like that he turned out to be a bad guy, so the rest of the stuff could happen that happened. But I didn't buy in that switch. And it might not be his acting, it might have been the script, but that switch wasn't, because he seemed to struggle so much and then fucking didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And you did get hints of like, oh, he came back with gonorrhea, and he's not the best guy.
Right.
Obviously was kind of interested in it for his friend to even think he would be interested in it, but he didn't play that at all. There was no struggle. So you thought he was going to maybe help her. Now he hits her and is the utter most disgusting piece of shit. It was just too quick of a switch to me.
That's fair. I think that is true. And that was going to be one of my questions for you is, do you think he was pretending, or like, what do you think caused the switch?
That's a really good question. Cause I always want to give the benefit of the doubt. And I did think about that. And I did think, was he pretending to be kind? No, this isn't me. Because he was turned on or got enjoyment out of her thinking that she had hope.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that could be. I did think of that, like, maybe that was his way. Like, there's some killers, disgusting and unfortunate, that like to see the fear. And so maybe that was his way of, like, giving her hope and unchaining her. Because why would he unchain her?
Right.
That's so, maybe he likes that. Maybe he liked more of the hunt and the overpowering. That could be.
Yeah. I think it could be read a few different ways. And I don't honestly know like what the right thing is. And this time specifically, I rewatched to see if there was like a phrase or something she said that triggered this flip for him. And I didn't really pick up on anything. The only thing that I can think is maybe because he's talking about his wife, because the whole thing is that she looks like his wife, right? And he can't kill his wife. So he wants to be in this situation where he gets to play out this fantasy where he kills his wife, quote unquote. And so he lets her go and she's like trying to find a way out. And it made me wonder, is it maybe like an emasculating thing? Because when he then ties her back up, he's kind of talking to her and he's like, yeah, you don't respect me, do you? Like you don't respect me, you don't fear me. Like there's kind of this emasculated energy, I guess, about it. And I wondered but she doesn't say anything in particular that I think maybe it's just her taking charge of the situation. Because she's like, what do? We need to get out of here. Like, what's the code? I need to like do this and that. Like, I need to, instead of maybe following his lead and saying, what do we need to do? I'm looking to you to lead me. But I don't know. I don't think that's super, I think that could be a possibility, but I don't think it's super clear that that's what's happening. So I think it could be read either way. Either he's pretending and he's getting off on the power of being able to manipulate her, or he maybe just has a flip. And the reason why I like this, because I get not liking it, and I think that's totally valid, but the reason why I like it is because I can't help but feel like you have that feeling when you watch this, like, oh, it's the quiet ones. You know, like the one guy is all bravado. He's like talking a big game. He's like, we're going to go in there. You know, he's like, you don't even want to know what I'm going to do in there. And then he's actually faced with the reality and he cannot deal with it. Whereas this guy, very what's the word?
Unassuming.
Unassuming, thank you. I always have problems with this word. Unassuming, quiet. He seems pretty, you know, empathetic most of the time up until the scene. And then he just fucking flips. And I liked that it just was like, it might be the person that you least expect who ends up being a total fucking psychopath. So that's the reason why I like it. But I get what you're saying. It happens so fast that you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, I wish I like that about him. I guess I wish there was more of maybe a thoughtful switch or a more understandable switch.
Like a moment where...
Yeah. Yeah, I wish there was more of a recognizable, that did it. Or something like that, because I thought it was so...
sudden.
Yeah, it was so... He was just so like, no, this is not me. And then he hits her. And then, yeah, I wish there was more of a... Like her. Let's talk about that. When people say the C word, you fucking see. She... that is a recognizable, that is a switch for me, that's a button for me, and that fucking pisses me off. And I think we all relate to that because I know that I have buttons and I have pet peeves, and we all do. So that pisses her off. So even when he says it at the end, when she has his junk in the pliers junk. Or the scissors, all of that is all of that. When he says it, you're like, oh, she didn't even need to say, what did you say to me? Because you know, oh shit, she doesn't like that. And so I think that would have been nice, but it didn't ruin the movie for me. I just thought it was abrupt.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I like how we just went straight for the ending on this movie, but you have to, you kind of have to, like, it's the most, like, obvious.
His wiener schnitzel. You just see it the whole time, too. There's no imagining it. She's, like, cutting and yanking and pulling, and you're like, oh, my God.
I was like, God. This fake penis is so good. This is the best fake penis I've ever seen in my life. She
grabs it with her hand and throws it to the dogs. Holy shit.
Yes. And I love that moment, too, where the guy, like, doesn't want the dog to eat it. He's like, hey. Like, I don't remember what he says, but that was very funny.
Yeah. My daughter, she was like, oh, my God. If she cuts him there, he will die because that's where the blood vessels are. She took biology. So she was like telling me all this, which was actually helpful because when they're like, you have to kill someone and she does that and leaves, you could technically think, well, she didn't kill him. Well, she did. Because all the major blood vessels, he's going to bleed out. He's not going to survive, unless someone cauterizes him or something, I guess.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty cool. I like the bad guy too. It's bad. Obviously, I don't like what's happening.
Right.
I like really good bad guys though. He's just so calm and collected. And when he comes in and she's like, I got him. And he's like, oh, she's going to cut me. And he's like, fuck it, kill them both. And starts to walk out like, this is not worth my time. She's like, whoa, I have the money. I liked him. I thought that was cool.
That whole scene is the best scene. It's the best scene in this movie because, he's like, oh, I'll double it. Whatever she's going to pay, I'm going to double it. And he's like, you can't double what she's going to pay. You've already had to or like your friend paid. Because you have like a mortgage or what's the word?
You had to mortgage your house.
Yeah, you had to. Yeah.
Your kids are in private school. You already took out a second mortgage on your house. Like,
that's right.
All of it.
To pay for that. Yeah, they know their entire financial situation. And he's just like, yeah, you can't pay your way out of here. But maybe she can, And I love that scene. The whole scene with her is great. She's like, name your price. I fucking got it.
Yes. And then you think after, so she gets out and then she kills Axel because she's a fucking asshole for luring people in there in the first place. So is she now going to be like Beth? Is she going to say, okay, look, I got your secret because I killed someone. So obviously I can't say anything, but she can because she can explain the situation she was in, right? I'm not going to tell your secret. And she's just going to go about life and not tell her secret? Or is she now a part of that crew officially I like killing people?
That's a good question.
I don't know. Because I would get the tattoo. I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, I'm all about this. Tattoo me. Yeah. I'll get that shit covered up. But I'm not going to be like, no, I defy you. And I'm not going to get out of there. I'll get the tattoo. I'll do my thing. But then you would have to say something. They're trafficking people to be killed. How do you not say something just to save yourself once you're out? You're out. I mean, not be like the martyr while you're in there. Screw you, I'm going to take you down. But once you're out.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there is some ambiguity.
Is there a 3?
There is a 3. I have seen it.
Is it about that at all?
I don't remember anything about that. I feel like 3. I think 3 is where it kind of got out of Eli Roth's hands a little bit, and it's like, how the Saw movies just got more and more crazy torture porn. They were like, the studio heads or whatever were like, this is working, we're gonna just double down on this. That's kind of what happened with Hostel 3 from what I remember. Gotcha. I feel like all of the story elements and the the believability and the people that you liked and the characters and stuff, all that was tossed out the window, and it just became more about torture, right?
Just butchering and torture, yeah.
Which I know these movies are classified as torture porn, but I think there's more. I think there's more happening in 1 and 2. I think 3 is less so that way. It might be worth a watch for us way later down the line, but I don't remember anything about this in that installation. And I think that you're supposed to be left with this feeling of oh, is she a bad person now? Because she just she could have just gotten the tattoo and fled. She could have gone home and been like, well, thank God I survived that. But she goes and finds Axel and chops her head off in revenge.
You kind of understand that, actually.
Right. You're like,
right?
I mean, good.
She can't lure any more people.
Yeah. But that doesn't solve the problem. You're killing one, you're cutting the head off the snake. 2 more will grow back. They obviously are a gigantic organization. They have all kinds of people doing this. So killing one person doesn't solve the problem, I don't know.
That's crazy. I going back towards the beginning, I thought, so I don't know if that's just me, but I thought at first that was weird. I would feel like it was weird that I was on this train and that chick was there and she's like, you inspired me to go on a trip. Like, she's stalking me. And then how about the rape train? That looks terrifying. Like,
yeah.
this does not look fun. Every single person on there looked like they wanted to, like, rape you. It's like
the rape train.
So scary. It's the rape train. And so, yeah, a spa sounds great. Because I don't want to be raped.
So totally. Get me off of this fucking thing.
Yes. Oh my God. I was so scared for all of those women. Oh my God.
I don't know. That's a good question. They did make it seem very dirty, I think.
Yeah, it was dirty and like there was spray paint and people were barfing and like, I guess you know what? That's just not me. Like I remember being, not that I probably could have been lured to some freaking Wicker Man festival
yes.
in the Ukraine or where were they? Slovakia? Where were they?
They were going to Prague, but they got sidetracked and the woman said, you need to go to Slovakia. So they were like,
Slovakia.
Yeah.
I could probably go to a spa Wicker Man festival in Slovakia and think that this is pretty cool. And I get partying and all of that. It just seemed so, I don't know, it just seems so scary to me.
Maybe it's like a low ticket train, you know, like you don't know, it could be, and
there's people that stay in hostels all the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's like lower cost, right? And you stay in rooms with other people and that's fine. Like it's not, as much as this movie makes it out to be not fine, I'm sure it's fine. But, you know.
I don't know, how about the Cecil Hotel was a hostel and that.
Oh yeah, I'm still only one episode into that. I don't know.
Well, we all know she dies, so.
Yeah. Yes.
That's like one hostel from very, very, a lot of hostels.
I don't even know if that's technically a hostel, is it?
It might was.
Okay.
It was acting like a hostel.
Okay. But like earlier in the movie, Beth is like, please don't book the 4 seasons. She doesn't want to look like a super rich person. So it's possible that but they, as like college students, they're like probably booking the cheapest train. So maybe, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's just what it is.
Yeah, but they had a family that were going to pay for that shit.
I know.
Like,
take advantage.
No, but they wanted
not in a bad way, but like if you're afforded that opportunity, you might
my
just
kids
take it.
do all the time. My
Hell
kids
yeah.
have some money and they ask me for gas money all the time because they don't want to use their money for gas money.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you? But I get there like, well, no one's going to be at the 4 seasons. We want to be where all the parties are. Like, I don't know. Just death, rape.
Death, rape train.
That's what happens.
Well, and for me, it didn't get like really sketchy until when she goes to that guy's like whatever room, right? And they're like in there, like it's like, I'm like, what? Have these people been living in this little spot in the train for the last like 20 years? Like, what is happening in here? That's where there's like graffiti and shit. Like, this is like a little
so nasty
drug den. They're living.
They're fucking like cooking their beans over the fire.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, it was nasty.
What the fuck is happening in here? The rest of it didn't seem that bad to me. It was like a party train. Like, yeah, okay, maybe all these college students get on the train at the same time, whatever.
But it was like a back city alley.
It was fucking like you go under the bridge and there is the
like those
tent.
Fucking guys had enough time to like fucking graffiti this. But yeah, you're right. It was a big switch. I was like, wow, I didn't remember the rest of the train being so disgusting.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I think this is very specific to these guys, right? And so they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you, and they were disgusting. The whole situation was gross. And so then when they finally get out of there, like I feel like that's what you get in this movie that you don't get in the first, because we're watching these dudes go through this situation. We're like, never, you'd never do this. But you're watching these women and they're like, oh yeah, no, we have to go. Like we're, you know, we have our friend in our whatever, we have to leave. You're like, yes, that's exactly what you would do. You need to get the fuck out of there without making a big stink until he calls her the C word and she flips out.
He grabs her too. That's when I would have been
Oh
like,
yeah.
Get your fucking hands off me, you piece of shit. Kick him in the face.
Yeah.
Yes, and I liked it that they locked the door, because I was like, get in there, lock the door. And then when the one woman was like, okay, I'll go check things out, I'm like, get the fuck in. Just don't go looking for the guy who stole the iPad. Get the fuck. And then she got back in. I was like, okay, cool. They locked it. And then it was the woman. And you probably would go, oh, hey, this is the girl we drew at the university. We don't want her to get hurt. Why don't you come in and, like, chill with us? You would.
Absolutely.
And then she had that fucking iPad. He dropped it out of his pocket.
Yes.
Like, really? But I don't know if I would have been like, really? I would have been like, oh my God, thank you so much. This is, now I would be like, get the fuck out of here.
Of course. Yes. Like, watching this movie, I mean, this is like, probably the 5th time or whatever that I watched this movie. You're like, this is so obviously a setup, but you don't think that the first time you say, oh my God, that makes sense that she was coming down the thing. He dropped it. She picked it up. But that's all a ploy to get them to trust her. And also look out for her. Come into our thing. We don't want you to get fucked up. Like, we'll just lock the door or whatever. Yeah. It's so well played.
Yes. I thought all the characters, me and my daughter both said she's a great friend when she wouldn't let her friend go sleep with that guy.
Yes. Yep. Miroslav.
Yeah, that was really great. But then that guy ended up being an okay guy.
I know.
I know. I thought he was a bad guy, and I was like, oh my God, he's a good guy. He got captured too.
Poor Miroslav. That's the other thing that I wrote down, just as far as like, subverting the expectations. You assume that he is there to lure them in as well. And then by the end of the movie, you realize, oh no, he got fucking taken. So let me tell you something about that scene, actually.
Yeah. I liked that, by the way, that they did that little flip, because you totally thought he was going to take him, and then the poor guy.
Yes.
Too bad they didn't have sex before they were both killed.
I know. I also like that moment where she says something. Whitney says, oh, Lorna's the only person who got laid last night. And he goes, hey, I tried. I thought that was funny. So at that moment that we see him in there being cut up and eaten alive by that guy, Ruggero Deodato is the guy. So he's the director of the controversial 1980 film Cannibal Holocaust. So he has a cameo in this.
Oh, that's very cool. You know what I liked about this movie? I liked the bidding element of it, because in the last movie you didn't see that a lot. You knew that kids were being lured and that people came in and, killed people. But this was the back end element, like you were talking about, from the bad guys' end, to see how this all plays out as a business, and how, like how he had the buzzer and they're just kind of like chilling until it goes off because they actually captured the girl. I thought that was a cool thing to see on the back end. And I also like that they introduced women who would also buy people to kill them, because there's some crazy motherfuckers out there.
Of course. Yeah, it doesn't matter what your sex gender is. Like,
as a woman, I tend to think it's more men that want to do that. But so I thought it was cool, though. And you know what? But I thought it was cool, though, because that's not necessarily so. You know what I mean? So I thought that was cool that they introduced.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong, like, statistically.
Okay,
statistically, it is mostly men out here, like, being serial killers and murdering people. But, also, women do this shit, too.
There's some women,
let me tell you about this scene, because I'm sure you're talking about the scene that the woman hangs her upside down and cuts her.
Yeah.
So, Mrs. Bathory, who bathes in virgin blood, is based on a real woman. Elizabeth Bathory was the Blood Countess of Hungary, who struck terror throughout the region in the late 1500s and early 1600s, and is said to have killed more than 600 young female servants and peasants throughout her life. The legend is that she bathed in the blood of virgins to retain her beauty. You
will either like me or not know that I knew that. I knew of that woman! I didn't know that is what it was about. But I knew of that woman that did that.
Do you know more? Tell me about it. Because I should have looked up more, but I didn't.
No. That's all I know. I don't know more than you know. I think I can't place the movie right now. There was a movie about it as well where they loosely based it off of that woman. But yeah, she had her servants, and there was, I believe, young women missing from the neighboring village.
Town or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, she thought the blood of virgins was really great skincare.
Ew.
Instead of like, vitamin E or maybe some honey or like, I don't know.
I'm sure they didn't have,
and who knows, maybe it did really do good for our skin. I don't know. We're not testing it and we shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not going to find out.
We are never going to know. And whoever's trying to figure out if that is the thing, just fucking grow old.
I know.
Like, come on.
It's not a big deal.
Grow old, for Christ's sake.
So, one more piece of trivia for that scene, the bathtub scene. Matarazzo's, that's the girl who was being hung upside down, Lorna, her sequence required her to hang upside down, nude, with her hands chained to her back. Matarazzo performed the scene herself, which I found was very impressive.
I was wondering if she did. You know what she's from?
Tell me.
Enchanted. And The Princess Diaries.
Yes, I knew about The Princess Diaries.
Yeah, Ella Enchanted. My kids used to watch it and all of that, and I immediately recognized her from those movies, and now, wow. And I wondered if that was her real body, like if that was really her.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, wow. So she was hung upside down in 5-minute intervals over a period of 2 days. Because I wondered, there's only so much time that you can be upside down like that. And
I wondered. Me and my daughter were talking about it. Like, can you? You'd probably pass out, but would you die from being upside down?
That's a good question. I don't know if you die. I don't think it's good for you though. Like,
probably not. That's not how you're made, anyways, to do that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think that they were like just being probably ultra careful, especially 5 minutes at a time upside down seems a little short to me. But who knows? I don't know what the actual.
Yeah, because it seems like you almost would be like, let's just crank it out.
Yeah.
But not if it was so uncomfortable. So I Googled it. You'd probably have around 10 hours as the minimum to live if you were hung upside down, because the blood would flow directly to your head constantly and eventually you would die. Your head, upper body isn't used to blood flowing like that. So you'd have about 10 hours.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. I thought maybe you wouldn't die because we're so, I don't know, we're like hardy, we're like poised to deal with whatever situation a lot of the time. So that actually seems small, like a small amount of time.
Yeah. I said to my fam bam that was watching it with me, I think you wouldn't die because they did that in the medieval times.
Right.
Well, I don't know what they did in the medieval times. I know that they hung people upside down, but I don't know how long. But I assumed it was for a very long time. But yeah.
Well, and yeah, just an inversion of your body seems like it wouldn't be enough to kill you, but maybe, I guess so. After 10 hours. 10
your
years.
Heart would have to pump so hard to get it from your head in this section to your feet.
Yeah, I guess that is the problem, is the circulation maybe, right? Because I could see that your feet would lose blood circulation. You might lose your feet and your legs and stuff, but that wouldn't cause you to die. But it must be the circulation of the blood.
Yeah.
That is the problem. Not that I am a fucking doctor or anything. Dr. Tawny, listen, I know anatomy. I took anatomy in high school. I dissected many things. I know what I'm talking about.
I dissected some stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
That's crazy. It could be dangerous, even deadly, to hang upside down for too long, as the blood pools in the head. So, let's see. This is like inversions therapy. So you could possibly do it for 10 to 20 minutes, but you shouldn't do it more than that. It is possible to die from it because the blood pool in the head.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Interesting.
So guys, don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it longer than 20 minutes or whatever.
And don't take that advice. Like, go.
Yeah.
I just literally Googled it. So, like, really do your research if you want to hang upside down.
Obviously not doctors. That's us. Along those same lines, just another piece of trivia for Heather I keep wanting to say that. Matarazzo had been sober for about a year when she arrived in Prague and attended a get-to-know-you party prior to shooting. She claimed she was constantly offered pills by the producers to help her beat jet lag and get some sleep, quote-unquote, but she repeatedly turned them down. She also alleged that when Bijou Phillips found out she was sober, that's the person who plays Whitney, she pushed her against a wall and choked her for 15 to 20 seconds and said, "I'm going to make you relapse on this film." Matarazzo said she was too embarrassed to tell the director or producers about the incident, which is fucked up, huh?
Fucking bitch, Bijou.
I know.
Hey, Bijou, fuck you. That's the one with the long hair? The long blonde hair?
Yes, yeah.
So she played the perfect character. What a fucking bitch. Anybody who would be that concerned has obviously very, very low self-esteem, low self-worth. Why would you care if somebody was sober or not? Why would you even care? That's a really shitty thing, and I think she's a piece of shit. I'm just putting
really
that out there.
Well, and I was like, why would you do that? Like, and just
That's
went and read
shitty.
some shit about her. Apparently, she's like known for I don't know about anymore, but I think
She was a model before, right? I think
she was, yeah, and
right.
She's been in a handful of movies, and she is also known for being like one of the party girls of Hollywood, like Lindsay Lohan and Paris Hilton, and you know what I mean? So that made more sense to me then. I was like, okay, she's in her party mode. Obviously, I'm not condoning that.
But why do other
way,
people have to party with you because you're
right.
a partier? Why do you care? What a shitty fucker. And I was going to give her some props, and I'm not now in this movie at all.
Okay.
Bastard. I'm going to have her on the show just so I can tell her she's a bastard.
Hey, listen, you're a bastard. Bye.
Hey, Bijou. Welcome to the show. You're
Fuck
a bastard. She'll be like, why? Hostel 2. Click.
Anyway, I thought that was
interesting. It is interesting. That sucks for her because, not for Bijou, the other, what was her name?
Heather.
Matarazzo. Heather, like it's really hard. And she's been clean and sober. And then you get this movie part and you're like, yeah, I'm in an Eli Roth movie. I'm in this, you're all pumped. You got an acting gig that's outside of Ellen Enchanted and the Princess Diaries. You're in a serious gig. People are going to take me as a serious actress. And then to have that pressure, it's shitty. I'm mad.
Yeah. But having said all that, she did a phenomenal job, did she not? Like Heather Matarazzo. Like she was like an amazing casting choice for this role.
Wow.
And I do think she, more than the other girls, are caricatures of right. 100%. Like she's like way above them as far as that goes. And it gets like almost to a point of like, okay, we fucking get it. She's like a bookworm or whatever, but she plays this so well. And then for her to be in such a drastically different, role than like Ella Enchanted or probably The Princess Bride. I don't know. Haven't seen that.
Princess Diaries.
Princess
Diaries.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
Not the
different movie. Princess Diaries. What a risk. What a career risk. I mean, maybe she didn't want to be typecasted as that, but like it's so like night and day difference. And she just did a phenomenal job, and I really commend her for that. And also having to put up with this, right? It sounds like not even just her, Bijou Phillips, but getting offered stuff by everybody else. Yeah.
God, that's shitty. And they all those actors and all of the actors are having to face that. And yes, so when she first started her character, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? She's so irritating. This is not this, it sounds so therapeutic. And I'm like, I don't like this. But then when she was caught, and especially knowing that was her, like she didn't use a body double and stuff, that's crazy. Yeah.
Really commendable. She was great.
How many women or people in general, I don't even know if it was all women, the makeup artist, that old lady, right, that said, I'm going to make you look pretty and all of that, and that she felt so comfortable to unhandcuff. Did she literally do that before and nobody fought back? Like
I don't know. That's a good question.
Nobody fought back in all the years of her doing this, that she obviously felt comfortable to do that, because that would be my first reaction. You have one hand free.
Yeah.
And when she bit her nose off, see, I loved that, because I have this imagination that I would do that it would be really gross. But if someone's attacking you and just like totally press their eyeballs out, it would be gross. I'm not saying it would be easy, but you would do what you could. And I thought, oh, she bit her nose off. That's amazing. And that's amazing that no one's ever done that. Did someone just let that old lady hold her hand and do their makeup?
Well, we don't know either how long she's been in that job. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like none of this was shown to us in the first movie. So it could be fairly new. Right? Like making people up. And it seems like it is. The fact that Whitney is in there in like lingerie. And I got the feeling that she was supposed to be like a sex worker / prostitute for Todd. Like that was like his whole fantasy that he wanted, was to go in there and have her be dressed up that way. Whereas you've got Stuart, who wants Beth to be dressed up like his wife, because she's like in a suit and stuff. So it seems like a fairly new thing. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't
in the
realize
world.
that.
So yeah, maybe they haven't even been doing it for that long. But I agree that it was like a fucking bad plan on her part. Like, oh, I'm just gonna uncuff you. But I did like how Whitney fought back, because I think you could be in this situation and you'd say, oh, this person's treating me kindly. I'm not going to rock the boat. I'm just going to like pretend and play along. I'm the pretend and play along person. I feel like, obviously not being in the situation, but I'd be like, okay, great. Yeah, fine. Yep. You're going to put up my makeup on. And as soon as I see an opportunity that I can take advantage of, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to like immediately fight back, probably, because I need to be able to like suss out what's happening. So I wonder, even if before that this had happened, you know, it makes sense that you societally would not do that, because you're not sure about what's going on. You don't know if the person in front of you has been kidnapped also. You don't want to, you know, they're showing you kindness, so you don't want to be a dick back to them. But I like how it turns out. I like how she does it anyway. You're like, fuck yeah, like get out of there.
Yeah, no, you're kind. You're kind. That bitch is kidnapped. And she knows what's going on. She's fucking doing my makeup so that I could get raped and killed. Fuck her. Like, you're so nice, Tawny. Let's escape together. No,
yeah, that'd be me. Are they making you do this?
Yeah, no. She wasn't that kind. Like, she was like, I make you pretty.
Yeah.
I make you pretty. Yeah, so, no.
No.
I feel like no.
But I like, this is a great segue. This is one of my favorite parts of this movie, because we talk about this a lot. Like, I'd pretend, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever's happening. Sure, whatever. I love how Beth goes straight to, no, Stuart, she doesn't see what I see. I see that you're strong, and I know you, and like, no, I just wanted to kiss you that night. She's not ultra convincing by any means, right? Like, even in the movie, you're like, okay, I'm not buying this. But that's exactly how I'd be. Yes. Sure. Take me out of this chair. Yeah, I wanted you to kiss me. Sure, let's have sex right now. Yep, that all makes sense. Like, I feel like that would be my mode of being, because I'm going to pretend until I can get the fuck out of there. And that's exactly what she did. And I love that, because people don't do that in movies ever, it feels like. So she's like, yeah, sure. And she's laying there and she's looking for weapons. You see her looking for something she can grab. And he's like, are you scared? You fucking better be. She's like, yeah, I kind of like it. Like, yes. This is how you'd be, I think.
I totally 100% loved all of that. Because when there is a situation like that, actually, me and my oldest talked about it in Hostel 1, where you have, I forget his name, Paxton, and he's in that dressing room with the one guy we were going on and on about how good he did. And he's just like, yeah, man. And Paxton was just like, ooh, ooh, ooh. You know, I was like, fucking stop it already. Like, act like you're into it. Even if it's like, if the guy's like, let me see your tattoo. And you're like, be like, no, man, that's private for me. And if the guy's just like, just show it to me, act crazy. Like, fuck you, man, get off me. The other guy will resonate with that. Yeah, it bothered us that he was just like, oh, or even when like, okay, granted, like his finger was missing. It's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of trauma going on. So I'm speaking from like, yeah, thank God I haven't experienced this. But even like he's like limping down the hallway, just fucking get everything into you. Okay, look, I've worn heels all night.
Yes.
And I have walked with dignity and held myself high and walked as though they didn't hurt when they were killing me. Like, you don't want to make yourself... So I totally agree with what you're saying, because there's so many movies where people do that, where people are like obvious and you're like, just stop, just like play the part for a minute to get out of it.
Yeah. I don't feel like we go there a couple times in this movie, thank God, because it's like, it's satisfying. That's how I'd be. Sure. Yes,
I agree with you.
When Beth is in Axel's room and looking around, you know, when she gets captured and she's in Sasha's house or whatever, you can see Axel in a photo with Natalia and Svetlana, the two girls from Hostel 1.
Shit, I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I missed that.
It's quick. It's really quick.
What a great little
throwback
plug in there. Yeah. Shoot. That's great. Oh, can I tell you one more thing that I thought was too much?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That the little boys played soccer with her head.
Okay.
That's all. I'm fine with the little boys now at this point. And the guy, Sasha, kills one of the boys to prove like how, you know, terrible he is, an unconscious person. But she killed him, and that was fine. I'm fine that the kids were unfazed by it because there's lots of violence. But then they start playing soccer with
the head.
I
know.
Just was like, come on. I feel like I'm in cabin fever right now.
Yep. I was just about to say that's that Eli Roth like humor, way over the top, like, yeah. And so in that way, like, I can accept it. I can be like, okay, this is an Eli Roth kind of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, sure. But I know what you're saying, and sometimes it feels a little over the top. And the kid getting killed, let's just talk about that for a second, because I did feel like, why is this happening? The only conclusion I could reach was that Sasha killed one of those children to keep the order, I guess, just to prove to those kids, hey, I'm in charge, you're not in charge, and if you get so out of line from something that I want you to be doing, like, I'm going to kill one of you. But that's the only thing I could figure, because it didn't make sense. Why would he kill this kid? I mean, I guess they're kind of doing their bidding, you know? But they...
Yeah, I thought that... No, I totally agree. I thought that what I read from that scene is that he was mad because they were damaging bought property.
Oh, okay.
Because they were hitting her and she was bruised and stuff, but someone had bought her. And just like when the one guy accidentally sawed the girl's face, he didn't want to see that anymore, so he put a hood on her. And then she had to be sold at a discounted price because nobody wants that. They don't want a beat up thing. So that was the one thing, is that they were impacting his business. And then I also thought, those kids respect no one, but they respect him. That's like he has such an incredible amount of power over everybody, that these kids that, are like lawless, they pause for him, and they respect and fear him so much that they would actually even offer up one of their own.
Their own, yeah. Okay. That makes more sense, because I was like, why is he, what, like, my thought was, why is he punishing them for running down this girl that he's trying to capture? But it's because they're beating her, and they don't want beat goods. They promise this buyer her in her whole form, probably, right? Yeah. So that makes sense. But yeah, I feel like that was kind of just in there for the sake of, like, it was in there in the first movie. We have to kind of continue the story of the street kids in a way in the second one, but yeah,
which they really didn't.
Yeah.
If you remove the street kids, that it does not take anything away from the movie.
I feel like it's mostly there for the end scene, for them to kick around the head for comedy's sake. Right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I agree that it's so dark and sinister, and then all of a sudden they're kicking around this head like a soccer ball. I think I've always been thrown off by that too. From the moment I watched it in theaters. Yeah.
Because it's absurd. It's not scary. It's not gross. It's just absurd.
I will say too, this movie it's less comedic for me. It's less funny, and I think that's partially because I like the characters more. And so there's like less of this comedy that comes through in a way, I guess. Like there's a couple moments that are funny, like when he's like trying to like intimidate her with the saw and it comes unplugged. Like that was funny.
Yeah.
And then like you've got the soccer moment, which didn't land for me, but I get how other people would think it's funny. And then the feeding the dogs the junk and they don't want him to do that. That's funny. So there are a couple moments like that, but it's not as funny as the first one. And so it doesn't strike that balance in a way that I like wanted it to.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so absurd.
I have a question about a piece of it. When the guy came up to Beth at the Wicker Man Festival, at the Harvest Festival,
yeah.
And he had like really like buck teeth and like crazy hair, and he's like, "Will you dance with me? Will you dance with me?" And then he's like, "I could have saved you." Was this like a Beauty and the Beast sort of situation where if the woman is not vain, she could be saved? Like she didn't want to dance with this boy because he was so, just not attractive. And so she wasn't saved because he was really like, "Come dance with me, come dance." Like he was acting really like, "Come dance with me." And then all of a sudden he's like, "I could have saved you." Like he wasn't really like, so was it like, I would have saved you if you weren't so vain that you would be embarrassed to dance with me?
That's a good question.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Because I do.
Okay, cool.
No, I
because
totally get
I asked my daughter, I was like, this is kind of like, I'm saying Beauty and the Beast because that was the whole thing. The old lady came to the Beast and asked for shelter, and he's like, "No, you're ugly and old. And you have gray hair." I'm just kidding. And so she cursed him. And she was actually this beautiful, whatever. So that's what it felt like to me because he switched. So he was so confident actually in how he was like, "I could have saved you." She's like, "What?"
That's a good question. I don't know. Like it is like, what is the movie trying to say? Like is the point of view.
Why couldn't he go, "Dance with me? I need to tell you something."
Yeah. Good point. Come out here. I'll secretly whisper to you.
He's like, "Come dance with me. Come dance with me." And she's like, No. Seriously, I have something to tell you.
Okay, but also, this is interesting. This is layered. We have so many layers. Because yes, what you're saying, it is like, is the movie trying to say that by being vain and like not wanting to interact with this person who she may deem as, undesirable or unattractive or whatever, is she then doomed to be murdered? But then let's take that even a step lower, not lower, but deeper. From his perspective, is she only worthy of saving if she like submits to him and is willing to dance with her? Like that's also,
or like a kind and compassionate human being. Because remember when her friend's like, "Oh, I'm going to go on the boat with this guy." And she's like, "Don't go on the boat." And she's like, "Why?" "Because he's not your vision of handsome man.
Right.
He's not like what you would want." She's like, "No, because you shouldn't," which was totally, absolutely.
Right. Duh.
But there's like kind of this underlining like, desirable men versus non-desirable men.
Totally. But I also think, like, from his perspective, could he have just whispered whatever he was going to tell her to her? Like, they don't need to be dancing. Is it a prerequisite
Well, they need to play
for
it
her
off, though.
To be interested in him?
But what if he leaned in and he was like, "Hey, you're going to be killed." And her reaction is going to be like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then
That's
the dude
true.
that's right behind is going to go like, "What the fuck?" Because he was right behind. Because as soon as the other guy walked away, he walked up and went, "What is he saying to you?" So you know, like maybe out in the dance floor, what is he saying to you?
Your accent is spot on.
Yes, I could get the next Eli Roth movie.
Yes.
So when they're out there dancing and there's chaos, he could talk to her more than sitting here with those people listening.
Okay, maybe. That's true.
She should have said she wanted. But see, that's funny though. I didn't see her as being vain. She was so kind and she just wasn't interested. But she built that throughout the whole movie. Is she wasn't someone who was like out there to just try to find some guy to hook up with either, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I think we are viewing it through that lens. Oh, she's just like, oh no, I'm tired. Like, I don't want to dance. She's not dancing with anybody. It's not like she turned him down and turned around to Prince Charming and went and danced with him, right? Like, that's not the situation. But I do like how that comes back and she runs across him on the road.
Me. He's like, sorry, I coulda.
He's moving he's like gone. He's got all of his furniture in the back of the truck and he says, go away from me, which I say to people sometimes still. Like, it's like a reference nobody gets ever.
Go away from me.
But you wouldn't know. You don't know what the situation is.
And if he was like, I could have saved you, I'm going to think about this honestly, without any context of horror movies. If some guy was like, do you want to dance? And I was like, no, I don't really feel like it. And he's like, I could have saved you. I would have been like, what? It just like she did. And they walked away. I probably would have just thought, fucking creepy motherfucker.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I'd leave. I'd be like, bye, I'm out of here. And I like how, too, the next interaction she has with the guy who is the clerk, right? He's like, oh, is that guy bothering you? Here, have a drink. This guy also, by the way, can we just give it up for how good he's acting?
Yes.
In a bad way. Like, he's being the best actor for non-acting, in a, like, you know? Because you're like, this guy is fucking off. Like, this is not right. And so she's like, yeah, sure. I also like that moment. She plays along. Yes, give me that drink. And then she's like, and like throws it over her shoulder. Nope. And that's
that brought joy to my heart. Because when she took it, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And then she tossed it and I'm like, oh, yes. Yes. Good. That was good.
Because you play along. You play
along to save your life. There's no need to pop up and go, I don't need your drink, and cause other, you know, drama.
Right.
Just toss it. Not like this is normal day, but even in normal day, but you get it. You get it. In horror movies specifically. Like, just like play along to get out of there. Like, be smart. Yeah.
Long enough to observe and find it out.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But don't ever get taken to a second location. If you get taken to a second location, you're pretty much dead. I'll just put that in there.
So here's
that's some true crime shit right there for you.
People might not. Yeah, exactly.
Don't play along. Don't play along that long.
No,
you don't ever want to get to a second location. No.
So my kids have known from a younger age. Judge me. I don't. Whatever. That you don't ever get into a second location. So if someone holds a gun to you and says, get in the car, you'd rather they shoot you right there. The majority of the time they will not, right? Because they won't want the not publicity, but you know what I'm saying? The attention. The attention of all of that going off. But once you are behind closed doors, nope.
It's bad news for you.
Don't get behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Don't go to a second location. 100%. My kids know it. I know it. You guys know it. Don't do it. Don't play along that far.
Yes.
Play along. It worked out for very, very few.
Yeah. Play along long enough to find an out or whatever. Assess the situation. Don't go to a second location. That's where you need to stop playing along. Fight your way out.
Scream, bite, fight, fight, fight. That was what I told my kids when they were in elementary school. Kick, scream, bite, fight, fight, fight.
Yep.
Because typically, you know, people don't want people who are going to be a pain in the ass.
Exactly. Yes. Anyway. Obviously, we're paranoid.
Poke out their eyeballs, bite off their nose. You know, don't be concerned with like, oh, this woman might have been trafficked herself. Like,
right.
Fuck that. But Get in there, get the nose off, get out.
Get the nose off. Take it clear off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't be Tawny who's sitting there trying to fucking, like, you know, coach
That's
people
a
through it and
You're right.
get them out of there.
You're right. That is not a positive thing. In that situation, I'd be like, but how is everybody else affected by this situation?
How many people are in this building? Let's rescue them all.
Yes.
Sort of shit.
That'd be me. Waiting, trying to get all the keys to open up the rest of the... No. Just get out.
Get out. Get out and let someone know. Obviously, not in that area.
Far away. Far away.
That was fun.
Okay. So let's rate this movie.
Let's do it. So I feel pretty solid in my score for the first time ever in my life of this podcast. And it was based on what I scored the last one. Tawny has this master list of all of our scores. So when I pop in there, and it really helps me. So I'm going to rate this movie. I feel very confident at 3.5 because I liked it more than the other one, which I rated a 3.25. Other movies I rated a 3.5. I enjoyed it just as much. And then something I rated like a 3.75 or a 3.9, I liked more. So 3.5 for Hostel 2.
Okay. It's so hard because I do feel like in some ways this movie is better than the original, but in other ways I feel like it's not as good. So again, we talked about this. I feel like the comedy horror mix is worse. It's less comedy in a way for this one because I identify better with the main characters. So that's kind of a ding against it. And also I can't help but feel like it's less of a tight story. Well, fuck, I don't know. As I'm saying this out loud, I'm questioning. Maybe I should give this a 5 also.
I feel it was a tight story.
Yeah.
Now maybe though what you're saying is the comedy horror portion of it, I totally can see that. And it was a lot more just, it wasn't as funny. And so when the funny parts came in, it was kind of unsettling. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. You don't think it had a tight story? I thought the story was pretty tight.
I do, I guess.
Especially because we could see the background of what was happening.
I do like that. I love a story that like starts small and like grows as you continue watching. Like it gives you an idea of what's happening beyond that small scope. So I feel like this movie does that because the first movie is very small, and this movie gives you an insight into what it's like to be one of the people who auctions and kills these people. So
the schnitzel scene. It's a good one, man.
I love it. I cannot.
It just doesn't stop ripping and ripping, and you're just like, whoa, there it is.
I love it.
Wow. Well, what if you don't have to do like 4.5. You can do like this 7.5, 4.9, 4.9. You can do all those different ranges.
That's true.
If you want to knock it a little for the things you didn't like compared to the original.
I think I'm going to give it that. I think I'm going to give it a 4.75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as Midsummer.
Yeah. Because I love it. I don't think I like it as much as the original just because I want to see them succeed more as like a group. So the comedy is lost a little bit for me.
Yeah.
But I like it a lot. It's like one of my favorites. I love it. And the only reason why, the thing that I've realized is talking through this and doing our like Cabin Fever episode, I keep saying that I love Eli Roth, and I do appreciate Eli Roth a lot. But the reason why I love Eli Roth is because of Hostel and Hostel 2. Like the other movies are not really as quintessential for me. It's Hostel and Hostel 2 that take the cake. So they're high up in my list of movies that I love. So that's where I'm going to land. 4.75.
I like it. That's totally legit. What a conversation. What a movie. That's awesome. What a movie.
It's got everything. Genital mutilation.
That scene, though, dude, was
the
great.
best.
All right. So next week we're watching The Dark and the Wicked. Tawny and I just kind of chose the last movies, and there's so many movies I want to see. That was something that came up, and I know that it was created by the guy who created The Strangers, right? So I was curious. When I watched the trailer, I really feel it could go either way. I feel like it could be good, or it could be just like really boring and stupid. Like it could go either way. So I'm excited about it. And then when I was watching the trailer, I'm like, oh man, I should have picked all these other movies that I really want to see. But that's okay. I'm excited about it. I hope it's good. The Dark and the Wicked. And Tawny, where can they find us?
You can find us on social media platforms. You can search Two Chicks and a Horror Flick or Two Chicks HF. That's where we are if it's too short. If we couldn't put our whole name. That's Twitter and Reddit and,
some future platform that
exactly that doesn't even exist yet, probably. And we also have a Patreon, so you can go to our Patreon to support the show. We have a Discord server for our Patreon levels and just a free level to be able to interact and chat. We love connecting with people and talking to you about all things, really. So you can find us there. And last thing, if you want to support the show, you can subscribe and give us a rating on whatever platform you're listening to us on. That's super helpful to have us be found when people search for us. And I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. We love you, and we look forward to connecting with you in our next episode. Not connecting you, not like human centipede level stuff. Just connecting with you in our next episode.
Ass to mouth. I will connect to you that way. So we hope you have such a good night and have no nightmares.